Hello again. It's a couple days later. Well, I apologize for my scratchy voice. I seem to have got sick in the last couple of days, but it hadn't stopped me from getting stuff done. I've painted the table, as you can see, finished the roads, laid the track back down, and I've soldered on the feeder wires. I stuck with the 4-foot rule, and so I've got a feeder wire at the start of each corner, one in the middle of the turn, and two at the end of the turn. I've got this straight section for the outer loop mostly done, and I got another feeder right about here. That's the only one on that section. Down here, I just got my first coat of paint down. It needs a couple more hours to dry, and I'll throw another coat on. And then when that's dry, I should be able to lay the track in this section. So I'll do that tonight. I want to paint this black, and I think I have a solution figured out for my bridge removable section. I think I've come up with a not so elegant solution, which I'll show you guys later when I actually do it. But it's gonna be should work. It's a compromise between the like little removable lift bridge I kind of wanted to start with, and a hard mounted section. So it's now roughly a day and a half since the last bit of filming. I actually got all this track work down yesterday, but then took some Benadryl and some other medicine and promptly clocked out. I still need to do the wiring on the inner line. The outer one's all wired up. You can see my not so elegant solution for my bridge. These toggle clips were pretty cheap off of Amazon. They hold it pretty tight. I had what they are if you're interested. I cut these out with the intention of screwing them under here to help support this, but there's not enough room, and when I screwed it cracked, so I just went with the cheaper and dirty route and shot some screws in there for now, just for extra support. I don't want it sagging while the trains are running. Future me will clean it up, but current me just wants to see trains run and doesn't feel like messing with it anyway. But they do work, and this section's removable. I'll probably, the smart move would be to add like a wire clips, that way I can unplug it, but I'm just gonna for now run a really long feeder wire to it, and that way I can set it off. Hi Elsie. So I'm gonna wire it up later. I think I'm gonna go back to bed for now, sleep off this Benadryl a little bit more. I still need to paint this black and paint that black as well, and then I need to buy like 3 bridges for each thing. I'll put the Erie one I already have on it, so I need 5 more bridges, I guess. But I'll get this thing wired up and later today, and when I wake up and finish this video. So it is now much later in the day. I slept way later than I thought I would. But I just got done running all the feeder wires for inner loop and all the little sidings I made. I just got done painting the control panel and the bridge. Everything but the ends. So I need to get that dry and I can retouch that. I'm getting super close now to running trains. I need to dig out another piece of 027 because I'm going to extend this down a little bit. And I'm not going to do it. I realized if I wanted to, I accidentally made pretty much a straight shot to that section of 027. Again, I'm not going to, but if I wanted to, I could join these. So after this paint dries, I'm going to go ahead and run the actual power wire and get this thing wired up, and I can actually run an actual train. I ran out of my good solder and had to use some cheaper stuff, so I'm not super thrilled with the way this looks. And also something I started doing a while back is bridging the two outer rails. You know, just these Menards tracks are usable, but there's some play in a lot of the ties. Just to keep some good connection, I just started doing that. I did that loop too. Yeah, when I built it. And a lot of these pieces of track from the old layout, I did it too as well. So it'll probably be later tonight for me, but just a couple seconds for you, and I should be getting ready to test the train for the first time. So this mess is now all wired up. It is now 4:20 on June 14th. And I got the lumber for this thing last Friday evening and started working on the bench work at 6 in the morning last Saturday. So it is about an hour and a half shy of it being a whole week of me working on this thing. I got it all painted and put my little bridge in there. This crappy soldering's already coming. The crappy solder I used is already coming back to bite me because a couple places have already come unsoldered, or they broke. I added that little piece in there, grabbed my trees. Theoretically, this should be ready to go. I ran out of wire. I had a 150-foot spool, and I ran out and wasn't able to run one last feeder over here. But that's kind of redundant because there's one there and there, and so it's whatever. It's not going to stop me from running trains. I did not wire up any of the sidings or this passing loop. I'll get to that later when I have a need for them. I was going to take these 022 switches apart and clean them up again, since that squirrel liked using them as a bathroom. But I just cleaned them up real quick with some sandpaper and to surface up. And I know it'll bite me a bit later, but right now I just want to see things do things. And the only thing I've done is turn this on to make sure there wasn't a short or fire. And as of right now, no, there's not. So what I'm going to do is grab a couple trains or locomotives and throw them on the track, and we'll have our first test run of the new fully completed circuits here. Alright, I got the old Polar Express out, which should be kind of tradition at this point, with a Sunoco double dome tanker, which was reminiscent of my first O-gauge layout down at the old basement, along with the 1615. So we'll test one and then the other. I don't foresee any issues, but you never know. These might not even run because I haven't serviced them since the last time I ran them. But hey, I never know why that thing takes off so fast like that. No plunges to the floor. Alright, and what about you? Yeah. Little hesitation on the 22. Something might work its way out. Power draw over here, I guess. Power drop. There you go, little fella. Nice. So other than there being a drop in power way over here, I'd say that went pretty well. The other one's not doing that, so I wonder why it's dropping so much. Probably because of all the switches, but well, I'll call that a success. I'll cut the video and get back to it later. That's all for now. Talk to you guys later.